Welcome back to Join Our Town. And our topic today is families. Of course, I'm your host, Mitchell Taylor, and it's a very interesting subject, and we're going to be talking specifically about parenting, and we have an expert on this topic and this subject, and I want you to welcome today Mike Storms. Mike, thank you so much for being on Join Our Town.
Our pleasure, thank you.
There's so much to say about you, but first of all, you're the author of the book, Parenting 101. I needed that book 27 years ago, just so you know. But okay, and I always say to my wife, I said, you know, if I raised kids now, I think I'd almost be an expert because we have that on-the-job training, and sometimes we miss the training. But you're going to help us today and help the millions of people that are watching
yes, sir.
This show. So tell us, what are some of the mistakes parents tend to make with their families?
Well, the first thing I would say is parenting is one of the toughest jobs you'll ever have in your life, right? In today's changing world with all the media and the video games and all the distractions and everyone trying to work to make ends meet, parents need to make parenting a priority. Not kind of, I'll get around to it later. Once my career's set, once I have everything squared away in my life, then I'll be a better parent, because that day never comes. So I think one of the big problems and challenges is, number one, make parenting a priority. Number two, set aside, you know, when I go do parenting conferences, I say, how many books you got on sailing or on tennis or on whatever your hobby is? And lots of books, lots of seminars. Guy goes, plays golf, he's gonna get a golf coach. He's going to go to golf seminars. He's going to get Golf Magazine. And then I say, how many parenting magazines and books and seminars you've been to? 3 people raise their hands in the group. So make parenting a priority and realize that we're not born intuitive experts. That we need wisdom and information to succeed. And all parents want to succeed. No one says, boy, I hope my kid grows up to be mediocre.
Exactly.
We want our kids to grow up to realize their potential, to be as successful as possible. But we have to be the coaches and mentors and train them to do their best at school, at home, in sports, in relationships, in the arts, wherever their talents lie.
And you know, what's interesting about that is that it didn't seem like our parents had that problem going back a couple of parents ago, you know? But today we have such a changing dynamic as it relates to our youth and society, until parenting has to be a priority. Let me ask you this. Should a parent yell at a child? Does this damage the family unit? Is there a way to engage that reinforces instruction instead of yelling?
Yes, sir. And we know this from growing up. Whenever we had a coach or a teacher or a parent or someone yell at us, you shut down. We have a saying that we teach in our book and in our coaching, that when you start yelling, rapport is broken, teaching stops. We all learned how to tune out our mean boss or mean coach or mean parent. But parents reach the point of frustration and explode in anger because they didn't nip the thing in the bud. Usually it's the kid did the thing 7 times in the last 2 days. If you'd had a coaching moment in the first or second time, you wouldn't have blown up. It ends up being that moment where you say, how many times do I have to tell you to clean your room? Be nice to your sister, share your stuff. So if we can get the skill set to respond earlier and calmly, the blow-up times don't happen. But I think particularly I want to talk to dads about this, because my father was a yeller, insulter. You know, it really stayed with me for a long time. And I think if parents could see the long-term effect of their words on their kids, because words have destructive or creative power. So when you speak to your kids, what kind of future do you want to seed? You want to tell them they're awesome, they got a great future, they're not perfect, but they're getting better every day? Or do you want to say you're lazy, you're stupid, and you're yelling, and give them, you know, insults and things that hurt their feelings, and that damages the relationship? And it's real hard to get those words back. So even with me, I have to, you know, tell my kids, go to your room, I'll be there in 5 minutes. So take a decompression time if you feel yourself getting upset. And then I'll go talk to my wife, and she'll talk me down a little bit.
That's a golden nugget. I don't want our viewers to miss that.
Yes,
you know, go to your room, I'll see you in 5 minutes. Decompression time.
Yes, sir, because you don't have to have the answer right there as a parent. And it's okay to call a friend. It's okay to go to a resource. It's okay to do anything you need to do, because rules without relationship lead to rebellion. So if you have rules with your kids,
rules without relationship
lead to rebellion. You can't tell your kids, clean your room, do your homework, set the table, do your chores, do this, but then you're not pouring into them, telling them you love them.
Right.
The physical affections, the hugging,
Right.
the pat on the shoulder, the eye contact that just fills their confidence and fills that love well that all the kids need to have.
Right.
So the yelling stuff really damages your ability to have influence for them to grow and get better.
Wow. So I guess that leads perfectly into this. Are there a set of consequences that parents should embrace when their children have diverse behaviors?
Absolutely. And one of the biggest proponents of our program that we want people to do is the DIA principle. You have to decide in advance what the consequence is. But we do it positively. It's called a pre-frame, where you're going to say to your kids, once your room's clean, then you can go outside and play. So you associate a privilege to the responsibility.
Wow.
Rather than saying, if you don't clean your room, you can't go outside and play. Once your room's clean, you can go outside and play. You're saying the same thing, but you're stating it
In a positive.
positively. Right? You eat all your vegetables, you can have your dessert. After you take your bath and finish your homework, you can watch TV. Now, the adverse part of that is whether you're a single parent or whether you're, parenting with a traditional family, it still works. But you want your kids to know clearly, even if it's on a chart in their room, do all my homework, feed the dog, clean my room, then I earn a TV show. So that if the kid goes, oh, I know, I don't get to watch TV till the dog's fed, I'm almost done with my stuff. So the kids have to have clear expectations.
That's powerful.
So you don't get mad, Bishop, and go, I'm so mad, how many times do I have to tell you? Because you just calmly go look at your chart.
Right.
We've already talked about this.
Wow. That's
so
amazing.
It keeps the communication clear.
Wow.
So that people don't get upset and the kids know what you expect, which makes it a lot easier to be obedient and to follow the structure. And kids will say they want pajamas day and candy for breakfast and Pop-Tarts for dessert every day. That's their meals. But they want boundaries and structure because it helps them feel safe and helps them to know what you expect and how they can achieve privileges or how they can give up their own privileges. Because we say, hey, you guys lost your privilege based on your choice. Because you want to teach them every choice has a consequence, good or bad, but you're the one who made the choice.
So arguing and over-complaining, how does that feed into negatively, I'm sure, the relationship or your ability to manage? I mean, you're a manager, right?
Yes, and I'm so glad you put it that way, because imagine this, you're at your job, and you're the CEO or you're the manager. You're gonna come in screaming and yelling and slamming doors and yelling at your people you manage? Good managers and good bosses don't do that, because the people shrink, they quit, they leave, it doesn't make them productive. CEOs don't scream at employees, and I'm a former Marine, generals don't argue with privates. When you argue with your kids, you're demeaning your position of authority. And you have to be calm and clear, just like in business. And we've talked about this before. You know what we expect. Go do it and come back when you're done. Again, it's whenever you're yelling or arguing or over-explaining, you can't put a 48-year-old head on 7-year-old shoulders. My kids will just get it if I say it enough. They won't get it. They don't really need to get it. They need to get, it's your room, you need to do that. Contributing to the family, you empty the dishwasher, you set the table. These are your responsibilities. And just train them, though. A lot of parents get upset if they told the kid 5 times. We call it the law of 10,000 conversations. People say, Mike, how many times do I have to tell my kid? And I say, until they get it.
Until they get it.
You can't tell your kid twice how to cut the lawn and then think he's going to know how to do it forever.
That's true. That's true. So how much does fear come into play when parenting?
Well, I can say from my own parenting experience and the thousands and thousands of people we've coached, and my wife and I, when you go through something as a child, I hear people say this all the time, and I know you have, I'm never gonna do that with my kid. Some of the stuff our parents did wasn't great, but some of it was pretty good. You can't throw out the baby with the bathwater. I'm never gonna ground my kids. Sometimes your kids need to be grounded for the weekend.
True.
I'm never gonna, take away my kids' XYZ privilege, because then you're limiting your ability to teach. So I think that we parent out of our ghost of our past, from pain, or from, one of the big things is fear of criticism. Where people will say to us, I can't believe you only let your kids play video games on Saturday. I'm like, that's what we chose to do. Because video games are a huge distraction. their recreation, they have their place, but 4 hours a day, every day after school, isn't the place for video games.
Right.
So I think you parent out of fear because the biggest one would be fear of your children withdrawing their affection. You don't love me, Mommy. Daddy doesn't love me because he didn't let me have 3 scoops of ice cream instead of 1. Or Mommy, you won't let me play with my friends or go to this party. You're not a good mommy. So we parent out of fear of our kids holding back their affection, fear of criticism for our grandparents are great at criticizing how we parent our kids.
That's true. That's true.
Fear of the criticism of our parents, fear of our neighbors criticizing us, and fear of our kids criticizing us too.
Right. And fear that we're doing it wrong.
Right.
Whatever decision we make.
And we're all going to do it wrong.
Right.
Right? You said I was a parenting expert. I can tell you, ask my kids, they don't think I'm a parenting expert. And I make mistakes, and I'm still going to make mistakes. We got 2 boys and 2 girls.
They didn't read the book, Parenting 101.
No, they didn't read the book.
Okay. They wrote the book.
I wrote a kid's book that goes with it now so the kids understand why they're making changes, because you don't want to read a book and go, okay, we're changing 17 things tomorrow. You want to have a meeting with your kids and say, hey, we're going to change a few things just so we can help prepare you for an amazing future and help you reach your potential.
Well, let me ask you this. We have more questions than we have time, but this is really important. How can you talk to a child about what they've done wrong without appearing to be threatening or come across threatening?
The best way to do that, and we were talking about this before the show, is ask questions. What happened? What could you have done different? Have Mommy and Daddy, or has Mommy talked to you about this before? What does Mommy expect? Because you're trying to get ownership, and a 4-year-old can get ownership. What did Mommy say about sharing when your friend came over today? That's my favorite truck, is that sharing. No, well, what could you do better next time when Sally or Johnny comes over? Because when they can, again, we're trying to work ourselves out of a job. I don't want to parent my 30-year-old kid. So I want them to start understand what we're doing, why we're doing it, and say it in their own words. Calmly sit down with them, do it in their room, and look for teachable moments. One of the best times to talk to kids about stuff that's going on isn't in the heat of the moment. It's in the car on the way to ballet or soccer. Let's talk about what happened earlier today. Or a teachable moment sitting outside a movie theater, rather than I have to fix this right now. When people are all tensed up and they're all adrenalized and excited or upset or sad, sometimes you want to go revisit that thing later once everybody cools off.
Well, listen, we've got about 10 seconds left. Give me one nugget. Look into that camera right there for the parents.
You're the parents. It's your job. It's not the teachers. It's not the coaches. You can do it. Love your kids. Get wisdom and apply it slowly and gradually, and you're gonna succeed.
Thank you for watching Join Our Town. We'll see you next time. I'm your host, Mitchell Taylor.
This program has been sponsored by the Trinity Broadcasting Network and is made possible by your telethon dollars. Your continual support can keep Joy in Our Town coming to your home every week. Write to Joy in Our Town, Post Office Box A, Santa Ana, California, 92711.